to Passionate and Practical, the art of dreaming, doing, and serving. We want to serve you as we kind of dive into what it looks like to build a business with your spouse. So today I have my dear friend Romana on the show. She's going to be talking about her company, Vibrant Meals, and how her and her husband are both married, obviously, and they own a company together. So welcome, Romana. Thanks for being here. Why are you so passionate about serving healthy meals to your community?
I think number one, first of all, we want everyone to eat healthy. So just internally helping your body with the right nutrients and sustaining energy and fighting disease. But the biggest thing is helping people be more creative in what they need to eat. And I think for the community part, it's fun to give them all these different fun recipes where they don't have to cook. They can just pop it in the microwave or the stove top and just cook it right on the spot for 2 to 3 minutes. So
Yummy.
I think that's the fun part.
My belly's growling. I wish you brought some meals for me. So tell us a little bit more about your company, what Vibrant Meals does, and then what is your role and Marco's role in the company.
So Vibrant Meals, we are a meal prep service. So we prepare home-cooked feeling meals that are gluten-free and dairy-free, and they're portion-controlled in these white Tupperware. And so all your macronutrients are on the front, and all your nutrition facts are on the back, so you know what's being put in your food. And the biggest part about Vibrant is just making sure the meal is completely clean with no processed ingredients involved. So my part is we call me the founder and the chief chef. So the more like the creative chef, because now we have chefs in the kitchen. I don't really cook anymore, so I'm just the mastermind. And then Marco, my husband, he's the CEO, and he does all the logistics. He manages delivery, he manages all our accounts, so what we're going to do next in the process of Vibrant, and the biggest decisions that are made are through him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about what it's like to do business with your spouse. So for me, I grew up, my parents own a business together. Yeah. They are in property management and real estate, and they complement each other so much. My mom is the powerhouse, and my dad works for her. I'm just kidding, Dad. They work together. She just manages a lot of the people, and then he is kind of overseeing the real estate side, and he's the dreamer, and he's the visionary behind it. So how do you guys complement each other?
Yes. So Marco has such a creative mind. So he does more, like I said, logistics and figure out numbers, but also graphic design. So he's more the eye behind that. And I of course I put my input too, but he takes more ownership in that. Yeah. And I'm more managing the kitchen, the taste of the quality of the food, making sure the product before it's sent out, it looks perfect. And I'm more the recipe creator too with my team. So that's where we complement each other, because he's the dreamist as well, and what's next, and what ideas do we need to do next, and the creative part of the product. And then me, on the other hand, we're kind of just like bouncing off each other's ideas, but he's really good with numbers. I'm terrible with numbers.
So tell us a little bit about Marco. He's not here to represent himself, so describe him. What's his personality like? What does he look like?
Okay. So everyone says he looks like a model, which he does.
It's true. Yeah, he kind of does. You do too. Yeah, you guys are like the perfect Italian couple. Yeah.
He's actually Italian, and he speaks Italian. You wouldn't think this because his English accent is so good. So he's 5'11", brown hair, hazel eyes, and he is an adventurous. He loves adventure. I have to keep us grounded so he doesn't travel too much. Yeah. So I'm the one that's the realist, and he's more the dreamist, and I think that's where we complement each other a lot. And he's super passionate about food, just like me. And he's very kind and wonderful in everything he does, and he's so good with communication.
Yeah.
That's still what I'm working on.
Yeah. So what are his, like, if you could say, top 3 characteristics of his personality?
Yeah. Definitely kind, loving, and he passionate.
Yes. I would say so.
So passionate about the world, about just everything that comes to mind, where I have to keep him grounded because we'd be doing 5,000 different things.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's similar to Blake and I.
Yeah.
He kind of grounds me.
Yeah.
I'm similar to Marco in that way.
Yeah.
And my dad, I'm more of the dreamer.
Yeah.
I have big visions,
Yes.
and Blake always jokes that he finds out about another job that I had like every couple of months. He's like, when you're 17, you did what? When you were 21, you did what? And I've just had so many different jobs and ideas and businesses that have started. So, I definitely resonate a little more with Marco on that. And Blake and I, we, similar story to you guys. You started a company together and then got married a couple months later. Well, you had already had Vibrant Meals going, and then he joined the team, and then you got married. And so for us, Blake and I both had houses separately, and we were both doing Airbnb separately.
Yeah.
And then a week before our wedding, we closed on 2 houses that were primarily going to be Airbnbs. So a couple days before our wedding, I'm talking like days before our wedding, we closed on these houses, and we were building furniture. I mean, not building furniture, but, putting it together from overstock and building this bed and putting on curtains and outfitting these Airbnbs, just days before we get married. Yeah. So we went into marriage as business partners too. So there are definitely some learning curves and struggles, but also some beautiful things. I would say Blake's strongest weaknesses, strongest strengths are he's incredibly patient, where I am not. Yeah. He just puts up with a lot. Let me just tell you, babe, you're amazing. I could get crazy sometimes. And he actually says he loves my crazy, just not when it's coming at him. So that's fair. Yeah. He's patient. He is someone who spurs on passion. So like if he, not just in me, but in other people. So he loves to pour into people the way that they come alive. So he's really encouraging, and he's patient, and he is also extremely driven. So that's awesome. I feel like I have big dreams, but sometimes I'm not willing to like execute on those things. Whereas Blake is like, if you say you're going to do this, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it well. So like for me, for instance, I was totally willing with this podcast, if I'm being 100% honest, I was willing to just kind of record something with a little microphone and just throw it on the internet and be like, if someone watches it, if someone listens to it, whatever. And he really encouraged me to take time, step back, and really dream about what this could look like. That's and so awesome. I wouldn't be where I am without Blake, and I know you wouldn't be where you are without Marco. So how so you say that how you complement each other. What are some pros and cons of working with your spouse?
I feel like, so when we first got together, I was like, yes, come on, you're so passionate about this too. You love food and you're creative. And so we thought it was a good idea. And as we get into it, he's telling me what to do. And I wasn't used to that because it was all just me. I was like, wait, what? Wait. No, step back. You got to step back 5 feet, please. So I think just like when you first start together, setting those boundaries and knowing like which department you're in. And I think communication is so important. It's just like a marriage. Yep. It's like a baby. Yeah. It's, did you feed the baby? Did you change the diaper? That's how the business is. Like, did you pay the bills? Did you tell this employee this? So I think communication's key, and making sure you're not talking about business at home too much. I think that was a problem we had, where our relationship was just built off business, but we're so passionate about what's next and what does the future look like, what can we do next. So I think creating that boundary of, okay, now let's be a husband and a wife, not business partners. So that's something we're learning today. Like every day it's just like a muscle, just always just working out that muscle in your marriage and in your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, when you say boundaries, do you have anything specific as far as tips if someone else was starting a business with their spouse or their significant other or even a best friend? What would that look like to set up some boundaries and practical tips?
I think writing it down and making sure what do you want to say before they take that. And I feel like it's such a trusting relationship. So you really need to be careful, like not just spitting out ideas all the time, but making sure we're going to execute it. So I feel like creating boundaries in the way of making notes of what's next for each other. And like I said, making sure that when you're at dinner, not talking about business. And if you're going to bring up something, say, okay, I have a business suggestion, but I want to talk about it. They can say, okay, can we wait till tomorrow? Then write it down. Or, yes, we can talk about it, because it can just be very daunting when you just want to turn off and your spouse is constantly talking about business. And then you don't create a relationship anymore. It's just business. And that can be really hard on the relationship. And so we went through ups and downs. It wasn't peachy perfect. I think people think we're so perfect.
Yeah.
No, we've been through a lot. Yeah. Like, we had to get to this point to understand each other. So I think you really just have to, there's no like plan or guide for it. Like, you just have to do it and really put God in the center. That's something I feel like for our relationship has helped us so much. Without him, it would not have worked. Being reminded, yes, we are prideful people. Yes, we're stubborn. So trying to take that off and be like, okay, let me listen to his idea, not just shutting it down right away. So there's just so many bits and pieces where it's such like a roller coaster. But I feel like communication is huge. Writing notes down and talking about it. And using your words right. Wording is crazy. Yeah, even with employees, like making sure you're using the right words where they don't feel like it's a negative. Like putting that positive first before you say a negative, or if they think it's a negative. So that's what I'm constantly working on, is my wording.
I would have to agree with you. Blake is often talking to me about my tact. Sometimes I have these impulses and I'm like, well, the appropriate thing is just to tell them how I feel. And he's like, well, there's a timing element to it. There's a way that you say it and a timing, and also kind of like how it's a whole package. So you kind of, not that you have to butter someone up before you give them bad news, but that you can let them know that they're valued. I used to think that was such cheap communication because I was like, you just got to go right to it. But now I'm learning that conflict does have an art to it. And and conflict isn't bad. I think people shy away from that word. But I think that when we are willing to respect someone else so much that we put a little bit more time into developing how we're going to approach it. I think that they feel that. They feel loved by it. And even if it's harsh news, they can kind of digest it a little easier than just like the raw thoughts of our mind. So I've really learned that.
Marco, he wants to talk about it right away. I need to process it. Because my emotions will get in the way. And I'm a woman. I have emotions and I get angry quick. So I have to really take a day to process the information. Now he knows that. So we don't have as many fights.
Right.
So now it's processing. Everyone processes information differently. So that's something we learned about each other. And that's how you'll learn about your spouse when you work with them, is how do they process information? And how quickly can you say something, or what's next?
So a question I have for you is could every married couple work together?
No, definitely not.
And why is that?
I feel like it's so funny. I talk to so many people and they're like, I could never work with my spouse.
Oh, I've heard that so many times.
So me and Marco, honestly, we would not be working with each other. We're working on creating the business where we don't work with each other as much.
Interesting.
Because we actually don't work well together, to be honest. Like, we don't. And the only way we work together is if we're in our own departments and we kind of communicate the information back and forth. But you just, it's hard because every personality is different. Every person's different, and we know this to the T that Vibrant would not be where it is if our minds didn't come together.
Right.
So we're almost sacrificing our marriage for the community of creating this awesome product and sending it out. But what does that look like behind closed doors? And it's us working on how can we work together and not kill each other.
Right.
But I feel like it takes two you have to be not prideful, not stubborn. It always goes back down that. And really just trusting your spouse as well. And
so what do you do to nurture your marriage?
Yeah.
Like, business aside,
Yeah.
you know, you guys just got back from a trip, so that's probably a great way to kind of catch a break.
Recharge.
But what do you do more on a weekly or a daily basis to check in with each other, not just as business partner, hey, you're gonna do X, Y, and Z. Like, how do you navigate that?
Definitely starting the morning off with positive quotes and encouragement. So we start with reading in the morning. Sometimes we read together, separate. We did do a Bible study together. That was something we wanted to do together, because when you're working together, you think, oh, we're going to be spending all this time together. I think the biggest thing I hear when people want to work together, I just can't wait to be with him all the time. I was like, yeah, just wait till it comes.
Yeah.
But there's, like, space is so beautiful. Like, we need space as human beings. Like, we need, and especially as a man and a woman coming together, I notice that when we have that small amount of space, it just rejuvenates our marriage so much, where it takes us time to actually think about each other than being around each other all the time. So I feel like with that being said is sending texts still, like cute texts with emojis and all of that, just to bring back that dating phase.
Right.
I feel like that was very special. Notes, we love to write a note to each other once a month where like explaining like our relationship, how we build with each other. Encouragement's huge. And dinner, like I still cook him dinner every night.
Wow.
I still love to cook.
After you've done that all day and you're around food all day, you still have the energy to go and make dinner.
There's something that makes me
making me look bad.
Yeah, right. There's something that I feel like you need to, I always look at when we were dating, what did I do that was so special for him when I was dating that I still need to do in my marriage? So those are some things he loves. He loves when I cooked for him. And then every Sunday we take our dog to Suck Creek and we go and do a small little hike and we'll go in the water, and it just recharges our marriage. So that's something we did for Vibrant. We took Sundays off. Vibrant does not operate, so then all our employees can have a rest day. And we need that. We need rest. It's the only way we can continue and have energy and be filled. If you don't, without that rest, you can't be filled. So that's something in our marriage. We had that one day off where we spend as pretty much like a family.
And that's biblical too.
Yeah,
it's just to take a Sabbath and recharge and be with God and be in nature and be with each other. And that's beautiful. And I know that companies that do that, sometimes they get backlash or they are willing to take a hit on sales because of it. But I love the stance. And not everyone can do that. When you're in the hospitality industry like us, we have Airbnbs. We can't just be like, can't check in or check out on a Sunday.
I know, exactly.
We can't, unfortunately, do that. But for you guys, I really respect the fact that you've taken that stance. So who, when you do have conflict, who is the first to say sorry?
I think it's me, definitely, because it's hard because our marriage is interesting. So I'm the one that will say sorry first, but it's kind of both of us.
Yeah.
It depends on the argument.
Yeah.
It really depends on the argument.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get really emotional, and I'll admit that. Like, I'll be dramatic, or it's that time of month or something. Mm-hmm. So then I'll realize, okay, that was a little ridiculous. I need to go back. And,
it's
but then you don't want to be bipolar.
Whoever one-upped the other person, that's the person that has to say sorry. Like, I went there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just went there.
I know.
I got to bring it back down.
Exactly. I have to say sorry.
I got to say sorry.
That's definitely me. I'm the emotional roller coaster. Where I'm
yeah.
I think that's just
women
hormones and everything, and women.
Yeah. No, I think there's beauty to it because I think we get so passionate about things, and that's the thing is like Marco and Blake decided to marry us, so they knew the package that they were getting. There's high highs, there's low lows, but ultimately, you know, we're on a mission. We're on a mission to serve the world, to serve the kingdom of God, and they know that what that comes with is sometimes some feistiness, you know. Exactly. So what is some practical advice that you would give to couples that are, if someone came up to you like, oh my gosh, I love that you and Marco work together. What kind of advice would you give them for just starting off in work?
Well, one thing we do that brings our marriage back is praying. So if we get an argument, like, let's pray about this. Yeah. Because there's some buildup, there's all these things going on. So I feel like the best advice is to see, okay, what's his strengths and weaknesses? What are yours? So narrowing that down. Seeing if you both are really passionate about working together, like making sure that there's a strong bond there. And I hear couples that work together and it's phenomenal, where they have like the best time, like they understand each other, and everyone's situation is very different. So honestly, I don't know what tips to give, but to just, if that is something that's on your heart, and God is placing you guys in this position, because God placed us together. Yeah. And he was like, you guys are going to figure it out because I have this plan for you. So that's what we did. We just figured it out as we went. And so I think just making sure your marriage is coming first is number one. Yes. Making sure your marriage is healthy, strong before you go into work, because you're just going to bring that in work. Right. And that's where the fights get created. Absolutely. So I think creating a healthy home and marriage and making sure your marriage is 100% and it's healthy and you're placing God first. Yeah. And then you can work together, and it will change the entire day of the work field. So
what's the kindest thing that Marco's ever done for you?
Is this in dating or marriage?
Either one.
There's so much that he does already, and I think he's such a workhorse, so he'll take pretty much everything on from Vibrant, which we're working on for him not to do that. Yeah. I think the sweetest thing that he's ever done was definitely take me to a spot where we used to, like, dated and like have a picnic or something that has nothing to do with money. It's just doing a sweet date, or even like making a cappuccino in the morning for me, because it's my favorite thing in the morning. Those small things are so important, and that's what keeps our marriage alive, is just remembering like what makes this person happy and what do they love. And I think those are the sweetest things he does in marriage, is just wanting to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we wrap up, we just have a few questions to finish our time together. And these do not have to do with our topic, but just to get to know you a little bit more intimately. So first one is, if you could describe your personality in one word, what would that be?
A firecracker.
Yeah, I would agree. And
you wouldn't think so either, because I'm so nice.
Yeah, you're extremely nice, and you're also pretty calm, like the majority of the time. Like, I feel like you have it together, not in a way that's like off-putting, but you know, you're very even keeled. But I know that like things can fire you up for like excitement or for frustration. So,
exactly.
Yeah, we have that in common.
Yeah.
That's why we love each other.
Yeah,
you know, exactly. We're like. You know, in the Christian world, there are a lot, and no offense if this is you, but a lot of women that are, they follow suit, and they kind of they don't do anything off the course. And so when two fiery women that love the Lord can find each other, there's power in that relationship. So I am just super thankful for to be like, I say that two of the most powerful words in the Christian language are me too, and just being able to relate. And there's been so much about our story that has related. I mean, you're from California, I'm from Florida, both sunshine states. We both kind of grew up in our bikinis, 365, and
kind of having it all.
Right. Yeah. Just like having the life, well-off families, and just this almost like this pressure to like fall into caring more about what we look like than our character. And I love that it's a part of both of our stories that God kind of grabbed hold of our heart and said, I have so much more for you than this. Because the world cares about outward beauty, and the world cares about what size jeans you wear, but I care about your heart. And so I'm just so thankful to have a sister in Christ that has a similar story as me.
That's so wonderful.
So what is your love language?
My love language is affirmation, for sure.
So feeling encouraged.
Yeah, like I just need positive words in my life.
So what is it when someone says, I love blank about Vibrant Meals? What's that like thing that fires you up? You're like, we are on the right track.
Yes, yeah. I think that just makes me feel so good inside that we're doing something right, and we're on a good path. Affirmation for sure.
That's awesome. And then lastly, if you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be and what would you eat?
Oh.
Or what would you cook in your case?
So it would be Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay. Love that.
I love her.
Yeah.
And I think I would make her pasta.
Cool. Just such an Italian thing to say, Romana. So cliche. I'm just kidding.
I feel like every American loves pasta.
Well, one thing that you've made me before, two Italian meals that I've had, like a spin on Italian meals, is one was, it was spaghetti squash when we had the party at Sydney's, which was amazing. And then the other one, which was zucchini noodles. So both healthy spins on this like hearty Italian meal, but sometimes you just got to have the real thing.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And as always, ladies, this is for you. You are infinitely valuable. You are so loved by God, and He created you with a unique set of gifts, talents, and skills to use for His purpose in the kingdom. So go and be His hands and feet to this broken world, and have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch. If this message has encouraged you, then please click to subscribe and share with a friend who may be inspired by the message. Also, if you have an event coming up and you're looking for a speaker, click the link below to get in touch with me.